This is my first art memory. Preschool, I had taken a crayons and just drawn this big mess, and someone wadded it up and threw it underneath the table and told me that wasn't art. It didn't deter me at all, but I think it's important to remember that was my first memory. Now, my wife was the opposite. She's the one that encouraged me the most. I was doing many other things before I started to pursue art as a career. Without her, I wouldn't be here right now. But one of the things that I thought about as I started to work and do paintings and drawings and things was that I wanted to create more sculpture. So something that was available to me right away was, that's paper mache, and it's painted to look like cast drawings. And they were really cool. I made a few of those and then I worked, but then something else happened where we had a baby, and stuff like traditional stone sculpting, the materials and time that needed to do that was not going to work for me. So even though I wanted to create more 3D work, I had to find something that I could start and walk away from. Even though the paper mache was easier to do at home because it was something that you could do at home, cardboard really fit me because I could start it, stop, and walk away at any time. So I'm using hot glue, and these are my first pieces I ever made. And they're okay, I think, for your first cardboard pieces, but I think that I've improved a lot. Measured twice. This duck head is not attached, and this was a two-part thing for me, so you'll see two slides in a row that are similar. But I had to cut this duck head off in front of a camera guy because I didn't measure the stairwell in the warehouse. Then we glued it back on. And I used this for two things. One, for kind of a guerrilla marketing. I set this out on South Grand, and it was great. Got a lot of response and feedback. The other thing, it was proof of concept that I could make some bigger pieces for something I wanted to apply for. And that was an installation at the Sheldon. If you guys have ever gone to golf galleries, I did this 3 years in a row, and this was a catalyst for me for moving forward. I met a lot of people in the art community that I still work with today, doing this 3 years in a row. It was a lot of fun. Maybe someday I get to do it again. This is the On God Art Hotel that got built a few years ago, and Jessica Venisi got a hold of me because she saw my work at the Sheldon and said, "How fast can you bring us some stuff down here?" So I brought some work, bought and sold, and now there's a permanent moose at the On God. That is the same elephant head that was at the Sheldon. So I learned that some of these big installations, even though they couldn't find a home, you could take pieces off and repurpose them. That's in a private collection now, but again, following that recycling model. But sometimes you gotta solve some weird problems. This was for a companion bread company, and there's no way you can make a basket of bread look cool out of cardboard. But he does a lot of work with cycling. That's how he gives back. So that's what we did. We made a bike. So part of being another artist, I think, is solving unique problems. One of the other participants in that first Sheldon show was Charles Houska. And that's him now hanging my first work at his gallery, who Jessica Venisi was the curator for at the time. This was a great problem. We sold, I think, 75% before the show opened. And then I started to work a little bit more with concepts and things. This is based off of, blue Chinese pottery. But the concepts don't always translate to sales. I only sold one piece of this. Then my children started to have an effect on some of the ways that I would make work. Legos everywhere, and started to experiment with different mediums and blending it back into the cardboard. And I've still had a lot of fun working with different materials. And this will come, I think, around again later. But again, this is for a fundraiser where I'm blending in moss, and these are foam mushrooms I've made. And I've done a series of these. And still remembering that these are old boxes that we've turned into art. Then I did a solo show, and this is again at House Pick Gallery. It's where I show all my work in town. Lots of different materials were used in all of these pieces to create those. Some were segmented, like the flower and the skull piece. Yes, gotten big and learned from past mistakes. That fire hydrant breaks into 3 pieces. It can be into many doors. Jessica Venisi, again, is now the director out of the Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles, so she contacted me to make this in December. And again, these people keep popping up in my life. Another person that was making holes at the Gothic Galleries was the World Chess Hall of Fame. So building a relationship with them from that one decision to build that duck, I built them a piece made out of chess pieces. I think we're going to do a whole set. This is a gorilla that used to be complete cardboard. It's repainted this because sometimes you got to be flexible and realize that something didn't work and change. And so hopefully this one's going to go back to the gallery that it's set for about a year and just refresh. And then this is what I'm working on now. It's a kind of a big pile of foam there, but you can see the maquette above it. This is for the St. Louis City soccer team. Again, we're going to cover this with the aluminum cups and just follow that recycled kind of look. And hopefully I can show you guys a finished product here soon.